back to my channel, Manifesting Greatness Now. So in today's live, we're going to be discussing living in slash living from the end. Odds are, if you're in this community, whether it's law of attraction, law of assumption, the Neville Goddard community, etc., the manifestation community as a whole, you've probably heard of the term or terms living in the end, living from the end, living in the end, live from the end, etc. That's what we're going to be discussing. I don't know how long this live is going to be, but we'll get the point across. So, living from the end, living in the end, okay, is something that's always happening. You're always living from the end involving something, okay? Always. You're always living from the end involving something. Thing is, are you living from the end involving what you want or what you don't want? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Are you focusing more on what you don't want or what you do want? If you're living from the end of what you do want more so than what you don't want, then you're golden. But if you're living more so from the end of what you don't want as opposed to what you do want, you could put two and two together, right? Living from the end, there's a lot of misconceptions involving it. We're going to talk about that. First of all, it's not a technique. Living from the end, living in the end, etc., is not a technique. I repeat, it's not a technique. It is something you're always doing. You're always living from the end. Always. It's not something you just turn on and off whenever you want, right? Like sometimes you'll come across content creators that would be like, oh, can't live in the end? Fear not. You don't need to. You're always living from the end. Okay? You're always living from the end. Or some of the content creators would be like, you don't need to live from the end, do this instead. You're always living from the end. You can't turn it off. It's like manifesting. You're living from the end 24/7, 365 days, every single millisecond, minute, hour, day, year, etc. You're always living from the end. The question again remains, are you living from the end involving what you want or what you don't want? How you doing? Hope you're doing good. Here's the deal. You'll know you're living from the end of what you don't want because you're going to be focused on the time. You're going to be focused on trying to make something happen, which is acting with force. Of course, you're going to be focusing on the common things. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You're going to be focusing on the common things such as the lack of, the absence of, the physical world circumstances. You're going to feel like you're internally struggling to manifest what you want. You're going to feel like you're internally struggling overall. What are some other ways to know that you're living from the end of what you don't want? What are some of the ways to know that you're focusing on what you don't want? Where are you from? From Boston. Hi, how you doing? What did you think about India? Yes. So what are some ways to know that you're living from the end of what you don't want, that you're focusing on what you don't want? You'll know you're focusing on what you don't want. You're living from the end of what you don't want as well, because you're going to feel the need to manipulate everything. You're going to feel the need to control everything. You're going to feel the need to focus on the middle and control all of the steps in between. What is your name? Joey. You're going to focus on the lack of overall, the absence of. You're going to do this work and then directly seek and search. You're going to do this work and then focus on the physical world. You're going to constantly assume that movement isn't taking place. When you come in India, okay, you're going to assume that movement isn't taking place, right? There's going to be a lot of things involved. Sorry, you may hear dog barking in a couple moments. So I knew it. So, how do you know you're living from the end of what you do want? How do you know you're focusing on what you do want? You're not going to be focused on time anymore. You're not going to be focused on manipulating it anymore. You're going to feel more content. You're going to feel more confident. Why are you not answering my question? Are you married? You're going to feel more content. You're going to feel more confident. You're going to feel more at peace, involving your desires fulfilled. You're going to feel more in control in a healthy way. You're going to feel more worthy. You're going to be in a more stable place, right? You're not going to be focused on the physical world circumstances anymore. You're not going to be focused on any of this mush, any of this garbage, any of this trash, okay? When you think about your desire, it's going to automatically bring you into this place of peace, calmness, and everything else in between, right? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful experience. So, the goal here is to live from the end more so involving what you want as opposed to what you don't want. The goal here is to live from the end involving who you want to be as opposed to who you do not want to be, right? Now, if you are living from the end involving what you don't want more so than not, these are some things that you can do. Number one is you want to go ahead and take the time to really clarify your end result involving who you want to be and what you want to experience, right? Who you want to be and what you want to experience. Hope you guys do know that I'm not indulging you guys for a reason. I know you're trolls and you're clearly not involved with the manifestation community, so keep on speaking. You're not really getting a response to. You're kind of just speaking to yourself. Anyways, you want to clarify who you want to be and what you want to experience overall. Once you've clarified who you want to be, once you've clarified what you want to experience overall, then marks the beginning of you actually focusing from the end involving it. You can utilize affirmations. Like, for example, if you're manifesting a specific person for romance, an affirmation you can utilize throughout the day is, me and SP have an amazing romantic relationship with one another, or me and SP have a romantic relationship with one another, right? Something of that nature, or me and SP are happily married, right? You can visualize it. You can visualize a wedding anniversary. You want to keep it from the end, not the middle. Remember, when you're living from the end involving the middle, you're coming from a place of control. You're coming from a place of needing to control everything, okay? You're coming from a place of needing to control the entire in-between, okay? So you're living from the end involving most likely fear, urgency, desperation, okay? But when you're living from the end of the end result fulfilled, the fully solidified end result fulfilled, such as being happily married or being in a romantic relationship, you've given up the control. You've stepped up to the plate. You're involving yourself with that confidence involving what you deeply desire. You're living from the end of what you want. You're literally living from the end of what you want. So keep that in mind. But you can visualize a wedding anniversary or a relationship anniversary. You can visualize yourself waking up on a Christmas day to the sound of children. You got your wife or husband next to you, and you spend Christmas together, right? There's a lot of things you can visualize that take place from the standpoint that you're already married or already in the relationship. Notice how I said already in the relationship, already married, right? So, continuing on involving that aspect of things, if you're visualizing it, affirming it, forming it, utilizing a subliminal, involving it, all of these different tools, right? You're going to be saturating your mind. You're going to be saturating your entire being, etc. Eventually, you will get yourself into this energy, this reality, this acknowledgement that this reality is present internally, that you have what you want. Facts. Hi, Joey. How you doing, love? Hope you're doing good. You're going to be getting yourself into this energy of knowing, this trust, this faith, this knowing, etc. Overall, I had to say that twice because the knowing is very powerful. You guys need to understand, this inner world needs to be so potent. Give me one sec, guys. I'm going to go ahead and just block these people from the live because they continuously keep disrespecting and disrupting the live. There we go. That's one. There's a couple of them. Weird individuals that have come on these lives and keep asking me about India and keep asking if I'm married and all that. So I know they're trolls and maybe bots, but yeah, there we go. Okay, so now that trash is out of the way, let's get back on track. Eventually you will get yourself to the point to where your internal world, this is how it should be. Your internal world needs to outweigh the external, okay? Meaning it needs to be more powerful than, yes, very distracting. I know I was ignoring it for a while, but it just kept going. Your internal needs to be stronger than the external, okay? Your internal needs to be so potent, so strong, so powerful that it literally outweighs your need for reassurance involving the 3D. Your internal needs to be so powerful, so potently powerful, that it literally outweighs any need for validation, reassurance, etc. involving the 3D. Put it this way, if the 3D is still more powerful than your internal reality that you're creating, you have more inner work to do. That's the simplest way that I could put it. And it doesn't matter what kind of circumstances you're dealing with, doesn't matter how many buts, ands, ifs you attempt to provide, if the 3D world is still more powerful, predominantly, than what you're manifesting internally, the reality that you're creating internally, you still have work to do internally in terms of saturating your mind, saturating your being, your energy field, etc. Okay? If the 3D reality is still more potent, powerful than what you're experiencing internally, you're still in the standpoint of living from the end of what you don't want as opposed to what you do want. And I'm talking about predominantly. It doesn't count if every now and again you feel that the 3D world is a little bit more stronger, powerful, etc. That's natural. You're a human being. I'm talking about continuously, like over and over, predominantly for the most part. Okay? The goal here is to live from the end of what you do want as opposed to what you don't want. Bottom line, point blank, period. So, take this into account, right? I think that this is a pretty good live. I would say so. I mean, hopefully now you guys understand the difference between living from the end and in the end. Well, living from the end, living in the end versus living from the end of what you don't want, etc. Hopefully you guys understand and are aware now of where you're actually at. Right? I would suggest listening to this live again, especially the beginning, because the beginning is really where I get involved with letting you guys know, or rather allowing you to be made aware of where you're actually at. If you're living from the end of what you don't want, you're going to be focused on time, the 3D, waiting for it to happen, trying to make something happen, forcing it, manipulating it, focusing on the middle, the steps in between. If you're living from the end of what you don't want, you're most likely focusing on those things among other things. If you're focusing from the end of what you do want, you're not going to be focused on the deeply desired end result. You're not going to be focused on the middle. You're not going to be focused on the time, the how, or any of this bullshit. You're very welcome. Among other things, of course. You're going to feel more calm, more content, confident, in control, etc. All right. I do have a couple of coaching deals going on at the moment that have been just in today, meaning I revealed them today. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. I do have my regular set prices as well. You can check the first pinned comment down below. This live is going to be uploaded at 3:33 p.m. EST. And yes, I was very intentional about the number, time, etc. so that you can revisit this live when you'd like. You can check the first pinned comment down below when this uploads. Otherwise, you guys have a beautiful rest of the day. Take care. Stay safe. Much love and peace. And God bless. 333. 333. There you go. Much love. Okay.